I lowered my eyes, held my worn-out handbag tightly, and pretended I didn't understand half of what they were saying, because sometimes, acting poor and naive reveals people's true faces faster than money ever could. My name is Margaret Wilson. I am a widow and the mother of a single son, Daniel. When Daniel told me he was getting married, I was genuinely happy for him. He had worked hard his entire life, built his own career, and found a woman he loved, Olivia. She seemed polite, educated, and kind. At least, that's what I thought. The first time I was invited to meet Olivia's family, I decided to test something. Not out of cruelty, but out of concern. I had seen too many marriages crumble because of pride, greed, and class obsession. So I wore my simplest clothes, old shoes, and carried a faded handbag. I didn't mention my education, my investments, or my late husband's business. I became, in their eyes, just a simple, struggling mother. From the moment I walked into their house, I felt the shift. Olivia's mother smiled politely, but her eyes scanned my clothes. Her father barely acknowledged me. They spoke loudly, slowly, as if I might not understand basic English. When tea was served, I was given a cracked cup while everyone else had matching porcelain. Daniel told us you live alone, Olivia's mother said, her voice syrupy but sharp. Yes, I replied softly. That must be difficult. Financially. I nodded, pretending embarrassment. Throughout dinner, they praised their wealth, the cars they owned, the vacations they took, the connections they had. They subtly hinted that Daniel should work harder, earn more, and provide properly for Olivia. Not once did they ask about my life, my struggles, or my sacrifices. Olivia stayed quiet. Too quiet. That night, I went home with a heavy heart. I had learned more than I wanted to, but the real test had only just begun. Over the next few weeks, the disrespect became clearer. Olivia's parents insisted on an extravagant wedding, one they expected my son to pay for. When I hesitated, saying we could not afford such luxury, they exchanged knowing looks. Well, her father said bluntly, maybe you should consider taking a loan. This is about our daughter's future. I stayed silent. Behind closed doors, Daniel was uncomfortable. Mom, they keep asking about your finances, he said one evening. They think we're struggling. I smiled gently. Let them think that, my son. What hurt me most was Olivia's behavior. She became distant, embarrassed by my simplicity. Once, she whispered, maybe you could dress a bit better when my relatives visit. That was the moment I knew the truth. A month before the wedding, Olivia's family invited us again, this time to discuss financial responsibilities. They spoke openly, assuming I had no power, no voice. We expect your side to contribute less, her mother said. Given your situation. I nodded calmly. Then I asked one simple question. And if I could contribute more? They laughed, actually laughed. That evening, I called my lawyer. The day of the engagement ceremony arrived. Olivia's family sat proudly, confident and smug. When it was my turn to speak, I stood up slowly. The room went silent. I thanked them for accepting my son. And then, gently, I removed the mask I had worn all this time. I told them who I really was. I spoke about my late husband's company, about the properties in my name, about the investments I had quietly managed for years. I explained that Daniel owned his apartment, mortgage-free, because I had helped him buy it. I placed documents on the table, not to boast, but to clarify. The color drained from their faces. Olivia's father stuttered. Her mother avoided eye contact. Suddenly, the cracked cup, the slow speech, the condescending smiles. All made sense to them. I acted poor, I said calmly, because I wanted to see how you treat those you think are beneath you. The silence was painful. Daniel looked shocked. Olivia looked ashamed. I raised my son to respect people, I continued. Not to marry into arrogance. That night, the wedding was postponed. A week later, Daniel made his choice. He ended the engagement. Not because of money, but because of values. As for me, I walked away with peace. I had protected my son from a lifetime of quiet humiliation. Because true wealth isn't money. It's dignity. CTA. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because sometimes the biggest lessons come from the quietest people.